So he said, "Oh, did you see Starmer saying he prefers he loves Davos, and Davos is where the World Economic Fund."
So when he was asked, he said, "Do you prefer Davos or Westminster?" And he went, "Davos."
Yes, yeah, and there wasn't any hesitation.
Yeah,
there wasn't any qualification, and I was quite. And it was by that imbecilic newsagent lady, Emily Maitlis, was asking the question. It's Emily Maitlis and John Soap, isn't it? They run that awful shill program for the government called Newsagents, and pretend they're not anything to do with the BBC anymore. They're free now. They're liberated from the BBC now. They'll just go somebody else and push the same crap as before. So it was one of those sycophantic interviews with one communist to another communist, basically. And yes, she said, "Do you prefer Davos or Westminster?" And he said, quick as a flash, Davos. And I was shocked. Because I thought, does he realise he's on camera here? He's saying that for the world to hear, that this guy's affiliated with the World, what's he called, the World Economic Foundation or whatever. More than his own country. But he was happy to say it.
And that's because you need to understand what he means by that. So what he means by that is eventually he would like to see the world under one nation, with no countries, no borders, and with the human race, no other races. So basically a communist planet where we can distribute wealth from the north to the south. There'll be no need for migration because we'll all be equal. We can build up the poor countries. Richer countries may become slightly poorer, but that'll be worth it. There'll be no more wars, no more disease. It will be a world utopia. Who wouldn't want that? The WEF are aiming for that. The UN is aiming for that. And maybe in 100,000 years, maybe we'll get to that. But it'll be a long, slow process. What these people actually want is to speed that up into a decade or two. And to get that result in a few decades, a few generations, will require force at a level we've never seen. It will take people 1,000 times worse than Hitler to be running the show to get us there. We're going to have to remove everyone's human rights, everyone's responsibility, rob people, take away all their power, all their resources, all their capital, to get to a world communist state. We'll all be starving. It'll just be like the Soviet Union, but on a global scale. But these people think they're doing good. These people really think if I can have more power, I can help this come along, and we'll avoid the mistakes of the past, and we'll get utopia. They've got no understanding of human nature. They've got no understanding of history. They've got no understanding how long these things take. These developments take a long time. And that's why he said Davos, because he wants a world government.
And he wants people to know that's what he wants as well.
Because everyone who's important agrees with him. And that sends the signal out to everybody else.
And to his followers as well.
Yes.
But the thing is, I suppose the issue is with someone like Keir Starmer, and his name alone tells you he was named after Keir Hardie, wasn't he? A very eminent Labour politician.
Was he, right?
His parents were both left-wing, possibly communists.
Yeah.
So he's been brainwashed since childhood. Yeah. This is the way it should be, son. Yeah. And he's a bright guy, and he's gone on and he's learned. He's become the director of the CPS. Yeah. All that sort of stuff.
He's always been involved in many of these organisations since university, all the way through his life.
And he's kept this idea in his head all the way through. And now he's in power, and he's doing it.
It's a religion. Yeah. It's an ideology. It's like a religion.
And he's robotically got in power now, and he's starting day by day. He's only been in,
60 days or something?
60 days, and he's already doing it. And he's like, I'm doing this, and I don't give a shit, if anybody doesn't care about it, because I'm doing it. I've got 5 years.
Yep.
I'm going to do what the frick I can in that time. And I'm starting now. And the first thing I'm doing is stopping people saying anything negative about what I'm doing. That's what he's doing first, isn't it?
How did he get into power?
He was voted in.
How did he... Technically.
Sorry, yeah. Okay.
But his journey, how did he become an MP? How did he get the support to be voted in to be Labour leader? All these things were planned because he is a manager. He He's not a leader. He's not a visionary. He doesn't have ideas. He's implementing a playbook, the Marxist communist playbook. He was picked to be the leader they wanted. And then they've supported him, they've funded his campaigns, they've silenced critics, and these people are, WEF, all these agencies, all the elite. He was anointed a decade ago to be, he's the Prime Minister we would like in this country. And he's been on that track ever since. He's not someone with ideas. He's someone who's going to implement what the people who put him into power want him to implement. It just turns out he believes in all that anyway. So he's not a paid informer. He's not a paid traitor. He believes in all that. They picked the right man for the job. And that's where we are now.
I mean, just saying that is actually what you're saying is quite chilling. And I actually think now, you're right, all this stuff is planned out by the people who want to create this global communist state, basically. But it reminds me of Day of the Triffids. You know Day of the Triffids, where the Triffids take over human beings, and you can't tell. You can't tell that somebody's a Triffid or they've been taken over unless you're in a crowd of them, and then suddenly one of them points at you and makes a screaming noise. Have you seen that? They are like the Triffids, aren't they? They're all, they've all got this idea in their head, and they're slowly taking over positions of power all around the place, so they can impose this world order on us, basically. And he's been selected, and now he's the Prime Minister, and he's doing it, isn't he? And he's getting on with it.
But this isn't new. All power structures do this.
Yeah, but also, if you go on a picket line, or if you go on a protest and say, stop letting ignorance in, all the Triffids point at you, don't they, and say, get him into jail. Yeah.
Unclean.
Yeah. It's just horrific. The way you've just described it now, if you'd have said that to me 3 or 4 years ago, that he's been selected or whatever, I'd say, oh, that's just nonsense, he's blooded or whatever. But you're right, he has.
And that's not just him. Many of our politicians have been selected for the same thing. They just don't happen to have the luck to get to that position of power.
Yeah.
So powerful people, powerful organisations are always supporting certain politicians because they know it's beneficial if they're lucky enough to get through and things go their way. Then we've got one of ours on the inside.
Yeah. And somehow he's made it through.
He has.
With hardly any votes.
Yeah.
With hardly any votes.
Yeah.
He's just, they've got him through, haven't they? It's just unbelievable.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.